Alright, we are recording. Continuing in Titan Quest 2. There- It's been a week. Yeah. Fortunately, everything is good now. But so I've been blaming it on the cold because it did seem like that was making the difference. So I think I want to. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Let's try and remember where exactly I was and where I'm going in this. But had a fan making noise on my desktop. I finally got fed up enough because it was interrupting my sleep. And replaced it. I had a fan to replace it. I could have replaced it anytime. I just didn't want to. And possibly while doing that, or just because it was time, the graphics card in the desktop died. Not immediately, but it just would decide, hey, I'm not going to put out any more video. Did that a few times, so I finally pulled it out, which was not easy. Don't get me wrong, my desktop's great. But ASUS violating certain rules about how ATX is supposed to be laid out does make some things more difficult. The top PCIe slot is placed too close to the CPU, which makes it very hard to get to. Let's do that, because there's also some guys down here, as I recall. Yep. But, yeah, so the RX 580 that I've had in the desktop for years, I had to remove, because it apparently died. Because it would just occasionally, as I said, stop producing any video output. If I restarted, it would be there again. But yeah, it's possible that it was just time. It's also possible that the pulling it out and putting back in, because the fan needed to be replaced. The fan header was literally between the chipset, well, the I/O the rear I/O cover, the RAM, and the GPU. So I had to remove the GPU to get easy access there. Fortunately, I've got a extender, a fan line extender. It's was included with Notch fans, so I just put that in there so it'll be easier to change out in the future if I have to. But yeah, after putting the GPU back in, didn't really want to. Trying to get that out was later to, it's like, well, I gotta change it. That was not easy. But fortunately was able to eventually get it out. So now I've got the GTX 1070 in there, which fortunately I've had no problems with that. So it must have just been the graphics card or the PCIe slot, because I put it. Another nice thing about Threadripper and the
deep does this temple go?
Let him talk. And the Zenith. I've got like 5 or 6 full-length PCIe slots. I just put it in one down. So instead of it being right up against, it's one down. It'll be easy to replace that way, if I need to. But yeah, so fortunately everything has turned out well, but man, that was stressful. Yeah. There we go. See, the main thing was I wanted to get the acid one. Get rid of that. There we go. But yeah. So kind of an all's well that ends well. I think that's now only 3 GPUs I've had die on me. My original Vega died, but that was under warranty and got replaced. And that was like nearly out of warranty. I think it was a few months before warranty was gonna lapse on that. My old GTX 570 died. I think my GTX 770 still works. I might not be remembering correctly on that. But NVIDIA doesn't make drivers for it anymore, so that's a problem. And then the 580, yeah. But the GTX 570 was definitely out of warranty when that died. And I checked because it was a Sapphire RX 580. It looks like the warranty would have been about 2 years.
Retribution. Here.
I was hoping for that to go further over, but this is still fine. There we go.
I didn't think Nemesis realized you were still alive. So if her harbingers aren't here for you, what are they here for?
Yeah.
The enemy is inside. Open the way.
Yep. So, yeah. Good thing to have just spare GPUs around. And I specifically picked the 1070 to put in there because I know it's been a while since I've done a performance analysis. But I figure of the GPUs that I have, which are all at this point kind of old, so I'm not sure how interesting any of it would be. But I figure that's the one that would be the least interesting to people to see what the results are. So I've still got the 1080, the RX Vega 64, and the RTX 2060 and 2080. And I know if I want to do performance analyses again, I should definitely upgrade at this point.
So, it seems I am not. It matters not. I am the troops. Report to me down below once you have.
Because more would spawn up here. We could take care of that before. Come on. Before I would take care of this. Alright. Oh goody. Finally do that. There. Mainly that this is also nice, but I'm going to focus on this first. Especially because... Oh, wait, yeah. What is it? 12%. Okay, so... Pull that down by 1. Put that in. So I get more activations on that. What do... I can also do that. I think that's what I'll do. Okay. Yeah, because I changed the
Who in the world was he?
the
Armor was Spartan.
whatever those things are, because I did that, they get destroyed. Okay, I wasn't sure if those would still... Because he survived the guy dying. Wasn't sure if they would fly back. Yeah, I guess what news is there from the week? Not too much, at least to me. There were some announcements, but none of them looked too interesting. Still wrote them all up. Oh yeah, that's right. One neat thing. Final Fantasy VII, the original, is now on GOG. So there's now a DRM-free version of that game. And that's it. And 4 other Final Fantasy games are discounted on GOG as well. I think all are 60% off until March 8th. There's the Steam Next Fest going on, which that goes until March 2nd, I believe. The heck? That was weird. It's like a key was stuck down. Yeah. Trying to remember what else there might have been from the week. Yeah, sadly, not much is coming to mind. One thing I saw, because the issues with the graphics card did make me think, it's like, about, just what would I do for building a new computer? I'd still like to wait, because it'd be awesome to, see about Zen 6, especially if they do actually, up the, and the expectation is they will, up the core count per CCD. Okay. Because I'd still like to go to Threadripper, but man, if I can get more cores cheaper, I'm good with that. Yeah, it is kind of nuts to see what RAM prices are right now, but it's just, I'm fine with waiting, and it still is. I don't know how much to actually be concerned about RAM prices because of something that I said a while ago. Actually, I don't think I've seen anything. Not that I'm perfectly plugged in on this, but anything about the different manufacturers like building new fabs, like actually trying to increase output, which doesn't make sense to me if this is a legitimate, that's not the right word for it, but my concern is that the RAM situation presently is actually very much a bubble, and I do wonder if the different manufacturers, and this is all predicated on, I've not seen anything or heard anything about Samsung being like, hey, we're gonna put down a new fab specifically to build more RAM, or trying to expand fabs, which I think news like that I would see, even though that's not necessarily my circle. It still is, I think I would see that, just because that would be significant news. So the absence of that does make me think they're doing the math and are figuring this isn't going to last long enough to support having an additional fabrication line for RAM. Well, if that's the case, then it can't be. It seems odd to believe then that it's going to be very long before it's actually solved. Because it's also, I mean, okay, I don't know what the status would be concerning the patents, but right now, if somebody, let's say Intel, just because Intel has fabrication capabilities, and they used to make flash, they used to make SSDs, and it does seem like, well, I don't know, it does seem like, because like a Samsung has to decide, okay, how much flash do we make, how much RAM do we make? And it seems like because they can just shift from one to the other, that's either they're just talking about the raw resources that go into the fabrication, or that is they actually use the same lines or part of the same lines. So you have to make that decision early. But it's just, imagine if Intel were to decide, you know what, we're going to get into making RAM, but we're going to only sell it like to Amazon and to Newegg. Like, this is only going to be going to consumers. It's not going to go to data centers. That would hurt Samsung in major ways, because you would suddenly see a bunch of consumers being like, okay, I'm going to buy Intel RAM. It'll potentially be less expensive, because they might be like, hey, yeah, we don't need to charge so much because we're not selling it to the places that are going to be like, yeah, we'll pay you $1,000 a stick. It's like we're going to go to the places where it's like, no, we want to pay only like $50 a stick, let's say. Yeah. It's like they were to do something like that, they would capture a lot of market and mind share. Which is why it doesn't make sense to me, unless it is the patents are that tightly held amongst a few companies.
Until you reach us.
It doesn't make sense to me that these companies are just letting it be if somebody else decides, hey, I want to start making RAM, and then corner at least a mindshare market by keeping prices down, by not just selling to data centers. I don't know. It makes me very much believe that the current AI situation is seen as a bubble, and that they expect it to burst. That is just what I feel is the situation. Yeah, actually... There. And yeah, why don't you actually come up here so you can get attacked? Okay, that works too. Yeah, I don't know, because my guess for what's actually going to end up happening with the AI stuff is it will cool off a lot. I don't know when, but just it will cool off. And when it cools off, it will go into 3 modes. One will be the consumer mode, which will be just the simple stuff, like the basic kind of assistant stuff, where it's like, yeah, the AI is more about just an efficient search and natural language processing, so you can talk to your phone kind of thing, and it tells and gives you answers. It would just be that. But figuring out how to do that locally, because some of that actually does get phoned home. So it would be that. There would be the workstate, and also like the super search engines, kind of stuff that you can get. A little bit of image generation, but I don't think it's going to be that much. Because I don't think most people care about that. Or at least not enough to have it local. Like, there being some simple stuff that you can access online, I think would satisfy the majority of people. There'd be the workstations that, like Hollywood and such would use, because having the AI there will help them. But those will be very powerful systems, plenty of RAM, plenty of all that, and tens of thousands of dollars spent on those is normal. Can I go past it? No, I could not have. Okay. And then the massive data centers, which those things are infrastructure scale, so once built, they're probably not going to change for years on end. And right now, we're seeing those built. But it's like those will be the least volatile. So once those are built, that will reduce a lot of the current demand. The workstation stuff would never be very high demand, so wouldn't have to worry about that. The consumer stuff, that would be the most volatile, but that's also, I suspect, going to be the easiest to, once they figure out a way to just do it efficiently, to then just, it'll disappear, kind of thing. Because once it's efficient, it won't be needed anymore, kind of thing. That'll just be something like figuring out, okay, how do we get... I'm thinking, I mean, it's A little bit less there, but it is technically more damage and it's ranged, so... Oh. That's better. Okay, let's equip that. And because I might actually use... Oh wait, that's damage over time. I don't do anything with that. Oh wait, no, but it also does have poison damage. Because I don't even know if it does any poison damage, so maybe that wouldn't actually make a difference, but anyway. There. Yep, wrong button. It's the same thing. Let's do that. Yeah, I don't know when it would be, when this kind of cool off would be. Like what the timeline is for that, but I do feel that's how it'll work out. And I guess the main thing with the consumer stuff, aside from like figuring out phones, would be when... Okay, that's what I want to hang on to. When AMD or Nvidia or Intel, actually, I don't think any of these looked all that interesting. I mean, I like my health regeneration. Yeah, I like my health regeneration. Basically, whenever they figure out the most efficient way to have it all on a single graphics card, that once that's achieved, and it would probably be a combination of, yes, having more RAM on a graphics card, possibly also better compression stuff, so that the RAM can be used more efficiently.
Admittedly, but as soon as that
Also seeing models that are intentionally compact, so that they don't need as much RAM to be run. Possibly also, though, placing storage on graphics cards, which is something I know AMD has done. I'm trying to remember what Nvidia has done, because I think they've done some work there, but I don't remember exactly how much. And it might just be that Nvidia works with the direct storage kind of stuff, where the GPU is able to connect back to the system storage, which in theory could also be enough, but if it were on the card, that would be far more reliable, and that I know AMD has done. So, they actually did it years ago. It's a funny thing that they had a Vega GPU. So this is pre-GCN and CD. Oh, no, sorry, not pre-GCN. Pre-RDNA and pre-CDNA work where they stuck storage on a Vega. And I think they called it an SSG, solid state graphics. Now this is before the current AI craze, but I could believe that aside from any potential issues with Vega at this point, but I could believe that there would be some people that may still have those and be like, yeah, this is awesome. Too bad they didn't make more of them. But I also think that some of the MI cards from AMD, I'm not sure. I think some of them do actually have storage on them. But I am genuinely uncertain about that. It's more of it wouldn't surprise me.
right.
Because some of those are like complete computers on their own, where they have a GPU, they have a CPU, and have CPU, and they have their own RAM, obviously. So them also having storage would not surprise me. Yeah, it would just be figuring out the right balance there, such that it would be achievable by consumers, approachable by consumers, that would have models that would properly run on it. It's like when that is figured out, you'll see a lot of stuff simplify.
Could that be what they're after?
Yeah, I just have plenty of thought. Wonder if that would work. It would have to be a very small model, but I was just thinking, could you do something like a let's also just say a deeper 3D V-cache kind of thing, and then with a very focused small model, or even just a model designed so they can be modular, have only part of it loaded. Could you potentially see one of AMD's X3D chips be a AI beast, just using that? Because like what I'm describing is basically an AI accelerator card, or significant AI acceleration specifically designed into a GPU, but different from today. I'm thinking more like actual application specific, as opposed to, yeah, GPUs can do this. It's like that would be fine for desktop and larger laptops, but how would you, aside from the NPU stuff, because I'm also thinking, have dedicated RAM there, or dedicated storage there, which is easier to do with a discrete card than something integrated into a CPU, but...
Keep striking the barrier, troops! Don't slow down! Its power can't be infinite! You survived. The way you move. Hold your weapon. You don't need to. It's you. You're... the god mob still alive! Accept reality. Goodbye, goblins.
We don't see him again for a very long time. In fact, I don't even remember if he does appear in the third act. He's not in the second.
Make Nemesis proud.
But then, I mean, it's pretty obvious we're eventually going to revisit Sparta. Well, visit Sparta in this, but anyhow. But yeah, I guess another way to put... Let them finish talking.
She seeks to wipe away the gods.
Okay. I guess another way to put it is I do feel that right now there's a great fervor with AI that has a lot of people interested,
Blood of the heavens.
but that ultimately it's going to relax down.
Power to erase, to destroy.
As people come to realize that it actually isn't as significant as people are freaking out about. I mean, it's definitely, partly there's definitely a... I don't think it's going to... There's going to be as much job loss because of AI as people are predicting, because, let's also be real, that's been predicted for every kind of technological revolution, and yet there's still plenty of people employed. It's like there's other things impacting employment today, and I would say a big... If there's something pushing down on employment today, it would be more so the reduction of certain kinds of work that used to be common, that's like, oh, well, we don't want to do that here. It's like, there's plenty of people that do. It's basically the fervor around outsourcing that saw a collapse of various industrial kinds of things in America. Now, I just realized, did I ever turn on the aura? No, I didn't. Son of a bitch. Turn that on.
Getting used to this.
Yeah, I can both have got to turn this on. So these will actually now be better, because they'll actually be doing the double. And... oh, that's kind of funny. I should have increased weapon damage, but I'm not sure how much. And increased armor. There's still more to do in here, so it'll be fine. But yeah, I do believe that the majority of things, it will just... yeah, going back a little bit. I started talking on the wrong train of thought. but that,
Well, at least we've made it further than Nemesis's harbingers. That's a good sign. The lieutenant was unsettling. Once he tells Nemesis we're alive, she'll be coming after us again.
wait, that's right, we do hear him talking, but we don't see him in Act 2. Well, anyway, yeah, we've always had technological revolutions that were like, oh, so many jobs are going to be lost from this, and then it's like, no, I mean, yeah, some jobs might disappear, but people just get other jobs. Because it's not like there's only a fixed number of jobs in the world. It's like, I'm trying to remember where it is that I said it or wrote it, or maybe I just thought it. There seems to be this very unhealthy concept, and it's also like with anyone losing a job, that skills exist because of jobs. It's like, no, jobs exist because of skills. Because it does feel like that. That there are people that think that, you know, oh, somebody loses their job, that means that they're just going to be destitute. It's like, no, they're just going to get a job somewhere else. It's like, that's also part of the reason why, full employment, as far as not being, like, fully employed, but, on the society level, is actually, like, 2 to 3% unemployment. Now, that is ignoring workforce participation rate, which is very significant, but the reason for that is because at any given time, when that measurement is taken, you expect some number of people to be unemployed because they lost one job or quit one job and are going to the other, but at that exact moment, they're unemployed. So yeah, the idea that, no, you must be constantly employed or else you're just worthless, it's like, that's... I mean, in some ways that is a real thing, but in other ways it's just made up. Probably because HR are petty tyrants. And I will never not insult HR because, in my opinion, they absolutely deserve it. Alright, I'm not really interested in any of that. I think... Yeah, this I want to get... I don't know about this, but we can also look at this. This might... Yeah, that'll be nice, but... I'd like to keep focusing over here. There, which that's now off, now it's on.
Lucasus is the Moira who actually measures out the fate of mortals as they live. I suppose she's been guiding us. I suppose we can blame Lucasus for all the troubles we've encountered. But we should also be grateful we've prevailed each time.
But, yeah, I mean, it's... I'm just trying to think of the best way to put it as far as personal experience, because it's definitely, for some of the stuff I do, yeah, I can't replace that. Trust me, I know that because I deal with people using AI, and it's like, yeah, this is a worthless thing you've made. Or is very poorly made because you just used AI and you didn't review it. So it's like... And some of that is not just a... Oh, well, you know, somebody who's... If they'd written better prompts. No, it's like, you wrote a description for something, it's clearly AI because the formatting is inconsistent, the structure is inconsistent, it's inconsistent and jumps around. So, yeah, I mean, it's... I get that it might be faster, but it is then taking me more time to figure out what the heck is actually being described, because I have to decode the AI to figure it out. And it's also with all the different formatting, it's like, okay, what is and is not important here? It's like, so I have to also decode the broken format. So it's, nah, and I've also seen things where it's like, I've asked, like just the other day, because the AV1 encoder, I've had to move to because okay, so there's the AV1 codec, the encoder that has become the de facto standard for it. Oh, I didn't realize it was about to die. Is the Intel's SVT AV1 scalable video technology. Intel's made a bunch of encoders. They are open source, and that SVT AV1 is the main one for that people go to for AV1 encoders. It also has been forked multiple times so that people can go in and add features, make some tweaks and such, so it is more reliable for producing quality. Because AV1 is not really the best encoder for maintaining high quality. Sorry, even today it isn't. But these forks, which the one I had been using was SVT AV1 Psi for psychovisual. Stack it over here. Oh, I didn't notice that. Right there. Looks like I have to go back now to sell stuff. It has been deprecated now because another fork was made actually off that called SVT AV1 HDR, and it was I think that the philosophy behind some of how it's developed is different from Psi, and also the guy behind Psi was just like, yeah, it does some things better. Okay, yeah. So he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna deprecate this and then focus on helping the other guy. So moved over to that. That finally added support for photon noise. So one of the features to AV1 that is hit and miss is film grain synthesis. And I've talked about this plenty of times before. But the quick way I'll put it is it basically can have some metadata in the file that tells the decoder, hey, generate film grain, basically just a noisy random pattern over the screen based on these characteristics stored in the metadata, and just apply it as an overlay on top of the video. The idea here is film grain by its nature is noisy, that's random, which makes it oh, didn't realize I was on the wrong thing there. Which makes it very hard to encode. So if you were to get rid of it, it would allow for better compression. Problem is that we do notice the lack of the loss of it. In fact, I remember, though it has been a while since I've seen it, they've done studies and found that a lack of film grain, people will see that and it makes the video look off. We expect it there. Okay? So, film grain synthesis is kind of this balance between it where
She cannot be turned.
let him finish talking.
As in, her mind can never be changed. When death comes, it comes.
So the idea being that either through actual digital noise reduction or through just compression, because compression itself tries to throw out the random stuff because it's hard to encode.
Just yet.
Need to wait for him to finish. Oh, good. He has finished. That by reconstituting it in this way, because metadata is very easy to compress, because it's just metadata, that you can have better visual quality while still enjoying the benefits of greater compression because the noise is out of the main video. So what has been in there for...
How much do we have to prove ourselves?
Thank you for finally shutting up. Hopefully you stay shut up. So what has been in there for a very long time, I don't know exactly when, it's been in there as long as I've been using SVT AV1, has been a feature that will basically analyze the input image, analyze the output, and then try to apply, come up with the metadata across the frame for where and how intense the film grain should be. You can still control how intense it can be. It's a scale of 0 off to 50, as I recall. But it's doing this analysis. The photon noise thing is basically saying, hey, just make up the metadata that's generic and is just applying it across the image, across the frame, and doesn't do any analysis of the underlying video. It's just generically there, which in some ways is fine, because film grain is not based on the content like the original stuff. It's literally a property of the film. So they put that in. The parameter is kind of crap, though, because it says, oh yeah, it's based on ISO. It's like, no, it's not. Trust me, it is not based on ISO. I have to turn that thing up way too high. Like, you would never use ISO on a camera at that level. Right? And that is in part because the film grain synthesis seems to always be a fixed size to the grain. ISO is related to the size of the grain, though. So they should not be using ISO. That is not the correct standard. But in any case, it would just apply generically everywhere, which is fine. In some cases, that's fine. So the problem, though, is, and I asked the AI about this, and it said, yeah, you should be able to use them together. Well, I tried that. It's not working. But I would love that. I would like that, because sometimes the film grain analysis stuff is poorly done. But I would like to be able to say, hey, no, I want a base level of grain there, but also analyze the underlying image and enhance it in certain areas where it needs it. I would like that. It's like, oh yeah, you should be able to do that. Nope. Not how it works. That might be worth it. Let me just have a look here. So it's cunning and agility, so I'd have to bump that up. Because currently I'm able to focus on this because of using the, whatever that one mastery, warfare mastery, that's thing. Just, okay. But how much would I need? 83 there, but 136 there. Nah. I don't feel like spending that many points in that way. But yeah, I tried asking AI and it was like, oh yeah, you can do that. In fact, some people even like that because because it allows for this, that, and the other thing. It's like, yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. Or, I mean, it's possible that that's just something to do with the SVT AV1 HDR implementation, and that main SVT AV1 does allow you to use them together. But, no, my experience was they don't work together. It's one or the other. Which is disappointing because I actually am encoding some stuff that I'm surprised by how grainy it is. Because it was television. Fairly modern television, but no, I guess it's there. And Kino, because they're the ones who did the discs, were like, hey, we're going to leave it in. It's like, you know what? I can't fault them for that. But it does make encoding hard. And the grain is just aggressive enough. Because I ran into this a few weeks ago when I was re-encoding Star Trek TNG and the original series. I think I mentioned this. The original series is actually not as grainy as TNG.
Will rise the godhood
and bring about retribution's downfall. So it is fated.
You have
I
questions.
want them to finish talking.
Approach. Ask.
Okay. The grain in TNG was just aggressive enough. AV1 hated it. Like the grain in the original series, though, so I could do that. Yeah. in theory, with a photon noise thing, that could be applied to TNG. I don't have the episodes off the discs anymore to test with, but in theory, although the film grain size would be wrong, but it's like in theory that could work there, but there would still be spots that needed enhanced. But it's like, that would be a good use. The current thing I'm going through, that could be a good. Nope. I said maybe it's a bug, but yeah, it's just kind of annoying.
And ask carefully.
She rages against.
He would.
I'm just gonna.
The destroyer.
He would turn back the long years. A prophecy.
That immortal.
And grow into the...
Only you can snip her thread.
The die file.
Yes.
It was her divine tool.
Use it to steal Nemesis's power.
You have begun to taste divinity.
Take the file.
Good. But we have one
File as the they but Scott and one has stolen power and allies mortal becomes god.
The prophecy is given.
Okay, that's right, I can just do that to head back. I don't need to go all the way back to the beginning of this section.
Did you understand all of that? The Moirai aren't exactly paragons of clarity. At least the first 2 lines of their prophecy seem rather clear. File in hand, the god marked steals power, as the father of fishmen guides the way. The father of fishmen has to be Glaucus, since he originally created the Ichthyums. They were drowning sailors he was trying to save by giving them gills. So, let's find him and see if he has any wisdom to share about how to use this new dive file to steal power.
Sorry, my brain is just turning off a little bit. I'm just trying to remember, was there anything I was saying before that I should try to finish saying, or just because like one example, and this is part of the whole thing with how AV1, it is nice, but it also just has some very obvious and annoying flaws, or weaknesses, I should say. I'm just going to ignore this kid for a little bit. So in order to figure out how I should encode something, I cut out sections. One thing that I've learned is, it may sound silly, but especially when it is something like what I'm dealing with now, very grainy, it's a good idea to try to get scenes where there's like a single solid colored wall. Because AV1 actually struggles to encode that if there's noise. Because it likes trying to reduce everything to blocks and just throw out as much information as possible from that block, have it be a single color. But when it's grainy, that means then that the average color in that block changes. And so if it does go to a single block, block A and block B, or block 1 and block 2, will be different colors, even though it's supposed to be like a wall that's all the same color. And it'll start changing every single frame. So, something like that, having something like the film grain synthesis or photon noise that would help with that, that could be really good. Grain size is a problem, but still, that's a place that can be helpful. But it legitimately is hilarious. That literally, which should be one of the simplest things to encode, a single color wall, because of how AV1 hates noise, hates grain. That is a place where it will fall apart, and you will see the blocking, the results of the blocking there. It's so annoying.
Hang on! So I'm Aratus. Ship's look, or I was until we were wrecked by a sea monster, Skiller. He sent me to come here. I'll just catch my breath a moment.
I'm gonna be stopping soon. I just figured. You know what the hell, why not? Because all that stuff I'm just gonna sell. I'm just gonna warp back, sell, and then come here. Continue, because I will respawn here next time. Yeah, take these as well. I'm just trying to think what else is there to mention. I guess I did see a little bit, but this was weeks ago, about AV2. I also saw a thing that apparently the same group of companies behind AV1. You know what, hang on, let me just take care of this and then I'll try to pull it up. Because I know where I saw the news. The news on, and can try to just go back there. I'll also take care of the remnant. Oh wait, yeah, it's over here. I think it is the Alliance for Open Media, which is the group behind AV1. No, this is right. Okay. Wanting to do a new audio codec. And the place I was seeing this, even they were poking fun, and it's like, why? We have Opus, which is basically for lossy audio, probably one of the best codecs you can find today, and is already open source. So yeah, that seems odd. I mean, are there ways that you could improve upon it? Yeah, but Opus is still being improved today. Really? Oh, no, that... For some reason, I thought that I had used a personal portal here. That was not the case, though. Okay, let me... Yeah, Alliance for Open Media is working on OAC as a successor to Opus. But it's definitely a why. Opus is so strong already that it doesn't seem like it's necessary. It is based on Opus. It's intended to be a successor there. Yeah, I don't know why. I agree. I don't know why they would be doing that. Not to say that Opus is perfect, and that you couldn't potentially find ways to make improvements to it, but it's already an open source project. A lot of places use it. A lot of places support it. I guess in theory, it's a, hey, we're a more prestigious group. And something like that, but I don't know. It just... It seems unnecessary. It seems you'd be better off throwing weight behind Opus and just trying to further the development of that as best you can. And if it does get to a point of, you know what, yeah, we need to go to a new decoder, then you come up with this. But I don't think Opus is at that point yet, because I know it's been a while since I last saw an update on Opus. But they're still improving it. So it's like you don't need a new decoder there yet. So yeah, I don't know. Don't know what's up with that. Now, if they would also add in a lossless part to it, that would be neat. And by that, just to clarify that, yes, we do have FLAC. It's a very good lossless codec. But I mean having a single audio codec that can provide both, that can have it be open source, that can provide both high-quality lossy audio and lossless audio that the same decoder can work on. That actually would be very powerful. Yeah, because it simplifies things so much. That then you can have, like, you know, one chip that handles decoding of all that. Whereas today, like, if you get a media player... Hang on just a second. Sorry, I needed to cough. Assuming it's not just doing software decoding, but it's doing hardware decoding. It would need a hardware decoder for Opus, for FLAC, for MP3, for AAC, for WMA. Not that they really use it anymore. for DTS, for all these different things. So not having to have another decoder that could be nice. But it's, I don't know. Audio is weird because it's one of those things. It's very important. Bad audio, things do suffer when that's the case. Bad video as well, but it seems like there's greater leniency, greater tolerance for bad video. Because there are ways of hiding it, but it's also video. It's still the heavier stream in anything, typically. So, yeah, it makes sense to focus on that. I don't know why you'd be focusing on audio like this. It just, I don't know. We'll see what comes of that, but it's, right now, I just, that might just be AO Media is like, hey, we just want to be able to say that we're offering everything. It's like, okay, you can say that, but there's also that little bit of me that personally, it's like, yeah, this is starting to go against some of the, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. It kind of goes against a little bit of open source. Not fully, but it's just, you're inventing a competitor that might not end up offering anything. You're just being competitive here. And not in it'll improve the status of anything. So yeah, it just seems odd. It just seems very odd. It's more what you'd expect a corporation to do than what you'd expect an open source, a part of the open source community to do. I mean, like going back to what I was talking about with the AV1 encoders. It's like, yeah, you had the forks, the Psi and HDR forks off of the main SVT AV1. But what happened when the guy realized that, hey, yeah, and even then, SVT AV1 Psi, that is actually Psi X. Because the original guy who did Psi was like, you know what, I'm getting tired of this, I want to move on to other things. So another guy took it over. That guy is now retired it because he's going to focus on HDR. Yes, there was competition between Psi and HDR, but that was in fact healthy. It was trying to support the other guy as well, seeing new ways of doing things, trying to improve both. And now he's like, hey, you know what? I think HDR is a better foundation to continue building off of, so I'm gonna go over to that. Like that's more so what you expect in the open source community. That we're not trying to just be different for the sake of it. If there's a difference, there's a goal there. There's a specific goal, and maybe it ends up unifying later, maybe it doesn't. But this, I don't know. If it is just they want to offer everything, I think that's going the wrong direction. But that's me. That's me. All right, that is enough of my blathering. Yeah, I guess I'll see you next week when actually going into chapter 2 with that character. I'm just trying to think if there's anything. I have not been in this since last week. Oh wait, no. I did play a little bit because this guy was at the top. That's right. I did go in a little bit because I wanted to see they made some changes. Because I can farm bosses, and I've actually like turned it up, so I'm actually the enemies are like at +7 levels above me. But Forge is that freaking powerful. I'm still just like annihilating so much. But it's kind of boring just doing boss runs, and also it's not even like the update before Act 3, so before the most recent large update, where I could just farm Skilla and get one of the charms or relics, whichever it is that's the rarer one. It's like, that was nice. Because, yeah, it wasn't easy. I wasn't guaranteed to win. I had to be careful to not be killed. But I was getting a reward that's hard to get otherwise. And now it's not like that anymore with any of the bosses. So, yeah, that sounds much fun. I'd like them to change it back. In one way or the other. But, yeah, so it has allowed me, at least with the higher level stuff, it seemed like I was getting gear that was consistently better than what I had, but in some cases it seemed like it rolled over, where I'm used to getting like 5 or 6 affixes on there, and now I get 2 or 3. It's like, what? I mean, it might be higher number of points that it's giving in whatever it's giving it, but it's like, yeah, I currently have something with 5 or 6, and I actually like some of those that you're now not offering me. So this isn't actually better. Yeah, it's... We'll see how that goes, because I would not be surprised if there's at some point an update that's like, yeah, we rejigger that so it's a little bit better. But anyway, see you next time.